Those who read this letter will be the most successful people today. I will be the one to provide you with knowledge, experience, and wealth. Most importantly, from this point forward, I will help you memorize the lessons of success in the shortest time possible. Share me with your friends so that together, we can become elite and build lasting wealth. If you understand this, the rest is simple. Your financial success is not determined by the tools you use, but by the internal blueprint that dictates how you perceive wealth. T. Harv Eker's Secrets of the Millionaire Mind begins by shattering the myth that hard work and intelligence are the sole drivers of riches. The narrative introduces us to the concept of the financial thermostat. Imagine a room where the temperature is set to 60 degrees. No matter how much hot air you pump in from the outside, the thermostat will eventually bring the room back to its programmed setting. Most people are thermally set for mediocrity or struggle because of the verbal conditioning, modeling, and specific incidents they experienced in childhood. This is the archetype of the conditioned mind. We hear the voices of our parents saying, "Money doesn't grow on trees," or seeing them argue over bills, and without knowing it, we build a subconscious ceiling on our own potential. The story follows the protagonist's own journey of almost making it, time and time again, until he realized he was self-sabotaging because his root system was flawed. The analysis of this stage reveals that if your subconscious financial blueprint is not set for success, nothing you learn, nothing you know, and nothing you do will make a lasting difference. You can attend every seminar and read every book, but you will remain a financial victim until you perform a mental excavation. The narrative emphasizes that the first step to change is awareness, followed by understanding, disassociation, and finally, reconditioning. By using daily declarations, physical acts of stating your new beliefs aloud while touching your heart and head, you begin to overwrite the old, toxic software of your mind. The story then transitions into the wealth files, the 17 ways rich people think and act differently than poor and middle-class people. The first file is the most transformative. Rich people believe I create my life, while poor people believe life happens to me. The story illustrates the victim archetype, the person who blames the economy, the government, their boss, or their spouse for their lack of money. They complain, they justify, and they blame. The analysis shows that whenever you play the victim, you are literally cutting your own financial throat. You cannot be a victim and be rich at the same time. The lesson learned is that wealth is a result of personal responsibility. You are the architect, the builder, and the occupant of your financial house. If you don't like the view, you are the only one with the power to change the blueprints. As the continuous narrative flows, we explore the game of intent. Rich people play the money game to win. Poor people play the money game to not lose. The narrative portrays the middle class as seekers of comfort. But the truth is that comfort is the enemy of greatness. If your goal is to be comfortable, chances are you will never be rich. But if your goal is to be rich, chances are you will end up mighty comfortable. This segment of the script intensifies the emotional stakes, showing that survival mode is a self-fulfilling prophecy. To grow wealthy, you must shift your frequency from safety to abundance. You must be willing to enter the discomfort zone, for that is the only place where growth occurs. The narrative shifts to the concept of admiring excellence. Rich people admire the rich and successful people. Poor people resent them. The story describes a man who sees a luxury car and scoffs, muttering about the greed of the owner, while a millionaire-minded person sees the same car and uses it as a catalyst for inspiration. This is the archetype of the blessing and the curse. If you resent what people have, you can never have it, because you cannot become what you despise. The analysis focuses on the law of attraction and social energy. Wealth is attracted to those who celebrate success. By practicing the habit of blessing that which you want, you align your subconscious with the state of having, rather than the state of lacking. The immersion continues as the story explores the size of problems. Rich people are bigger than their problems. Poor people are smaller than their problems. The narrative follows a character overwhelmed by a business setback, paralyzed by the fear of failure. In contrast, the millionaire mind sees the problem as a level 2 challenge while they aim to become a level 10 person. The secret of success is not to try to avoid or get rid of or shrink from your problems. The secret is to grow yourself so that you are bigger than any problem. This represents the archetype of the growing giant. The lesson here is that wealth is a reflection of your capacity to handle pressure and provide solutions. If you can handle a level 10 problem, you will eventually have a level 10 bank account. Moving deeper into the psychological train, the narrative touches upon the worthiness trap. Most people do not reach their financial potential because they feel unworthy or undeserving of wealth. The story depicts a person receiving a compliment or a gift and immediately deflecting it, showing a deep-seated inability to receive. Rich people are excellent receivers. Poor people are poor receivers. The analysis suggests that worthiness is a made-up story. If you say you are worthy, you are. If you say you are not worthy, you are not. Either way, you will live into your story. The universe is a vast broadcasting system, and if you are not open to receiving, you are effectively telling the universe to send its bounty elsewhere. Learning to say thank you and truly feeling deserving of prosperity is the final piece of the receiver's puzzle. The story then addresses the myth of either/or. Poor people think either I can be rich, or I can be a good person. Rich people think I can have both. The narrative follows a character choosing between their passion and their profit, believing they must sacrifice one for the other. This is the archetype of the false sacrifice. Wealthy thinkers know that with a little creativity, you can find a way to have the best of both worlds. The analysis here breaks down the scarcity mindset that keeps people trapped in a world of limited options. True abundance is the ability to integrate your values with your bank account, proving that money is a tool that amplifies who you already are. If you are a good person, money will make you a better person. The intensity of the narrative builds as we reach the core of the money-making machine, the focus on net worth versus working income. The story describes the middle class bragging about their salary, while the rich discuss their net worth, the sum of their assets, investments, and savings. This is the archetype of the harvester. Working income is what you earn through labor. Net worth is the ultimate measure of wealth because it represents the resources that work for you. The analysis reveals that to build net worth, one must master the 4 factors: increasing income, increasing savings, increasing investment returns, and decreasing cost of living by simplifying. Most people fail because they only focus on the first factor, ignoring the holes in their financial bucket. Finally, the narrative introduces the most practical tool in the arsenal, the management of money. The story follows 2 individuals who earn the same salary. One manages every dollar with precision, while the other spends according to their mood. The first person becomes a millionaire, while the second remains in debt. This is the archetype of the steward. The lesson is that the habit of managing your money is more important than the amount. Until you show that you can handle what you've got, you won't get any more. The 6-charge system is introduced not as a chore, but as a ritual of freedom, ensuring that even a single dollar is partitioned for its highest purpose. This psychological discipline prepares the mind for the responsibility of great wealth, turning a chaotic flow of cash into a directed stream of power. The narrative shifts from the architecture of the mind to the volatile arena of action. If you understand this, the rest is simple. The bridge between the internal world of thought and the external world of result is action. Yet most people are paralyzed on the starting line by the specter of their own fear. The story follows the archetype of the hesitant dreamer, a person who has memorized every wealth file and recited every declaration, but who remains frozen when it is time to invest, to sell, or to lead. They are waiting for the fear to vanish before they move. But the millionaire mind understands a visceral truth: fear, doubt, and worry are among the greatest obstacles, not only to success but to happiness. Therefore, the secret is to realize that you do not need to get rid of fear in order to succeed. The analysis of this movement reveals that the wealthy are not fearless, they have simply developed the muscle of action. They practice acting in spite of fear. The script portrays the individual standing at the edge of a great chasm, the gap between their current reality and their ultimate goals. The only way to cross is to move while the heart is still pounding. This is the transition from the comfort zone to the wealth zone. Ika insists that if you are only willing to do what is easy, life will be hard. But if you are willing to do what is hard, Life will be easy. Comfort is a drug that kills ambition. The millionaire mind is trained to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Recognizing that the size of one's life is exactly equal to the size of one's ability to enjoy unknown, the immersion continues as the story explores the concept of the lifelong student. The narrative introduces the archetype of the know-it-all. The individual who is perpetually broke but always has an opinion on why the economy is failing or why a certain strategy won't work. Their favorite 3 words are "I know that." But the rich dad figure in this story counters with a sharp, clinical observation: if you aren't truly rich and truly happy, there is a good chance you still have a lot to learn about money, success, and life. The analysis reveals that the arrogance of the struggling is their ultimate prison. To grow rich, you must be willing to be a student. You must learn from those who have already achieved what you want. We see the protagonist finally humbling themselves, seeking out mentors, and investing in their own human capital. This is the wealth file that states, rich people constantly learn and grow. Poor people think they already know. The story depicts the transformation of the mind from a closed fortress into an open vessel. The lesson learned is that your income can only grow to the extent that you do. You must work harder on yourself than you do on your job. By attending seminars, reading books, and surrounding yourself with those who play the game at a higher level, you are not just gaining information, you are upgrading your internal operating system. The script emphasizes that the most expensive thing you can ever own is a closed mind. The narrative momentum builds as it tackles the power of association. The story follows a character who realizes that their peer group is a negative anchor. Every time they share an idea for a business or a new investment, they are met with skepticism and reality checks that are actually just reflections of their friends' own fears. The millionaire mind, conversely, understands that energy is contagious. They seek out the high-vibration tribe. They don't just hang out with successful people for the networking, they do it for the atmospheric pressure of success. The analysis here is a sobering look at social gravity. If you hang out with 9 broke people, you are bound to become the 10th. The story then addresses the archetype of the promoter. This is where many people's internal blueprints fail them. They have been taught that selling is dirty or that self-promotion is arrogant. But the narrative reveals that rich people are almost always excellent promoters. They are willing to promote their products, their services, and their ideas with passion and enthusiasm. The poor dad archetype is shown recoiling from the idea of selling, believing that if they are good enough, the world will beat a path to their door. The millionaire mind knows this is a fantasy. If you truly believe that what you have to offer can help people, it is your duty to let as many people know about it as possible. The lesson is that your income is directly proportional to the value you deliver to the marketplace. Multiplied by the number of people you reach, the intensity of the script increases as it describes the management of energy. It is not just about time, it is about where your focus goes. The narrative depicts a person who spends their energy complaining about the unfairness of the system, versus the millionaire who spends that same energy building a system of their own. This is the law of focus. Whatever you focus on expands. If you focus on problems, you get more problems. If you focus on opportunities, you get more opportunities. The analysis highlights that successful people are solution-oriented. They see every obstacle not as a wall, but as a riddle that, once solved, carries a prize. Finally, the narrative introduces the archetype of the workhorse versus the investor. The story follows a man who works 16 hours a day, thinking that hard labor is the secret to wealth. He is exhausted, bitter, and stagnant. Then he encounters the millionaire who works less but thinks more. The secret is revealed: rich people have their money work hard for them. Poor people work hard for their money. The narrative explains that work is honorable, but it is a temporary phase in the millionaire's plan. The goal is to move from active income to passive income as quickly as possible. This is the financial freedom milestone, the point where your investments generate enough income to cover your desired lifestyle. The analysis shows that until you learn to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. As the second part of this continuous narrative concludes, the listener is left standing in the zone of choice. You have seen the internal blueprints, identified the wealth files, and recognized the need for bold, Uncomfortable action. You have learned to bless success and to grow bigger than your problems. The transition is almost complete. You are no longer a victim of your past conditioning, you are the conscious creator of your financial future. The final part of the script will reveal the hidden secret of the 6 jars and the ultimate realization that being a millionaire is not about the money, it is about the person you become in the process. The narrative reaches its final, transformative peak as it unveils the archetype of the master steward. If you understand this, the rest is simple. The universe will not give you more until you prove you can manage exactly what you already have. The story follows a character who, despite earning a significant salary, constantly feels the suffocating weight of debt and the anxiety of an empty bank account. They believe that more money is the solution to their problems. But the millionaire mind reveals a different truth. It is the management of money that creates the wealth, not the income itself. This is the birth of the 6 jars system. A ritual of financial sovereignty that turns every dollar into a soldier for your freedom. The analysis of this system reveals it is more than just a budgeting tool, it is a psychological reconditioning of your relationship with capital. By partitioning your income into specific buckets, necessities, long-term savings for spending, education, play, give, and the sacred financial freedom account, BAN are telling the universe that you are a capable manager of resources. The financial freedom account is the golden goose that you never, ever kill. It is a one-way street where money goes in to buy assets and never comes out for consumption. The play jar, interestingly, is equally vital. It is the 10% you must spend every month on things that make you feel rich. This prevents the internal child from rebelling against the discipline of saving, ensuring that the journey toward wealth is a joy rather than a sacrifice. The immersion continues into the archetype of the purpose-driven soul. The story describes a man who achieves his first million only to find himself feeling empty and hollow. He realizes that money without AY is just paper and ink. This leads to the ultimate wealth file. Rich people are committed to being rich. Poor people want to be rich. There is a profound difference between wanting and committing. Commitment means holding nothing back, giving 100% of yourself to the goal, and being willing to do whatever it takes for as long as it takes. The analysis shows that the moment one definitely commits, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. The script emphasizes that wealth is not an end in itself, but a means to fulfill your mission on earth and to help others do the same. The narrative momentum builds as we explore the inner game of wealth as a spiritual practice. The story follows the protagonist as they realize that their bank account is merely a physical result of their internal state. If things are not going well in your outer life, it is because things are not going well in your inner life. This is the law of correspondence, as within, so without. The millionaire mind treats self-development as the highest form of investment. They don't just work on their business, they work on their character, their integrity, and their courage. The analysis here reveals that the true value of becoming a millionaire is not the $1 million, it is the person you had to become to achieve it. You have to become a person of high vibration, a person of their word, and a person who can lead others through the storm. The story then addresses the archetype of the contribution. Rich people see themselves as players in a large game, while poor people play a small game. The narrative portrays a woman who shifts her focus from how can I survive, to how can I solve problems for 10,000 people. The moment her vision expanded, her wealth followed. The lesson learned is that your rewards in life will always be in direct proportion to the value you deliver to the marketplace. To grow your wealth, you must grow your service. You must move from the me economy to the we economy. The millionaire mind understands that the more people they help, the richer they become in every sense of the word, spiritually, emotionally, and financially. The intensity of the script increases as it describes the final surrender to abundance. The protagonist lets go of the scarcity shield and accepts that the universe is a place of infinite supply. They stop seeing others' success as a threat and begin to see it as a proof of concept. The narrative concludes with a scene of the protagonist standing before a crowd, sharing their story not as a boast, but as a lighthouse for those still lost in the fog of conditioning. They have mastered the inner game, and as a result, the outer game has become effortless. The analysis of the entire secrets of the millionaire mind philosophy reveals it as a manifesto for personal sovereignty. You are no longer a victim of your past, your parents, or the economy. You are the master of your financial destiny. The core message T. Harv Eker intends to convey is that wealth is a natural byproduct of a mind that is aligned with the laws of success. It is not about getting something from the world, it is about unfolding the potential that is already within you. By identifying your financial blueprint, overwriting your wealth files, and committing to uncomfortable action, you transform the very fabric of your reality. The book is a reminder that you were born with the right to be rich, and the only thing standing in your way is a collection of old stories that you no longer have to believe. The secret is that there is no secret, only the disciplined application of a higher way of thinking. The journey ends with the realization that the mind is the ultimate creator. Your thoughts lead to your feelings lead to your actions, and your actions lead to your results. If you change the root, you change the fruit. You are now the gardener of your own prosperity, equipped with the tools to build a life of absolute freedom, contribution, and joy. The world is waiting for you to play big. Your internal blueprint is the ceiling of your life. Break the blueprint, and you touch the stars.